Joining us here is Hall of Famer Steve Young. Let's everybody raise our level of play here.
Let's class it
the
up.
classy man is here.
Steve Young.
What's up, Steve? How are you, Steve?
14 ball. The 14 ball. That's good. That's good.
How are you, Steve Young? What's going on, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing better for seeing you on the screen. What's your opinion so far of quarterback play through the first 3 weeks of this season? Steve Young overall.
You mean the September preseason, right?
That's what it is, right? Is that are we seeing the effects of a shortened preseason yet for another season in September,
remember,
Steve?
In the effort to make the game safer in the last 10 years, it's essentially reduced the amount of time coaches and players can be together. And so the sophistication goes down, and free agency is as wide open as it's ever been, and they limit, and then obviously when you can get into preseason, the true preseason in August, no one plays, and so really you're just throwing in April you throw 50 guys together by June, and then you get a little, a couple 3-day retreats, and then you go play some ball, and so compared to. And I don't want to be the guy, get off my lawn, but in the old days where you really spent the whole year with your coaches grinding through, 5 years of tape and refining, the aspects of your offense and the sophistication. And that's why, Tom Brady said it best when I saw him right at the end of his career. He's like, what's the difference? And he says, well, the flats are always open, the middle of the field's unpatrolled, and no one can touch me. That's overstatement, of course. It's conflated, but, and so then football, you asked me about quarterback play. It's just defense is much easier to get good at than offense. Offense has much more technical parts of it, and it's tender, tedious work. And so the offense will always lag. That's why you see better offense towards the end of the year and better defense early. And so, so what do I see so far? The great teams are showing, and the really bad teams are showing, and then there's 25 teams in the middle that just like, please make me 2-2 in October so I can, figure out who we are.
Right, that's what it looks like right now, and it appears to be with Daniel Jones off to a 3-0 start, yet another quarterback that needed 6-7 years to potentially find the right spot, or we can't already anoint him, if you will, the next Baker, next Goff, next maybe even Sam Darnold here, Steve.
Rich, again, let's just talk about it for a second.
Sure.
Before the rule changes in the past, the old days, I felt like there was 5 really great places for quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
I think that it's expanded now because the great innovative minds of what I call the Big Four, that when the rule changes for safety about 8 years ago, leaned into the new space that was created by defenses not being able to launch their bodies at people. The Sean McVays, the Kyle Shanahans, the Andy Reids, and the Sean Paytons all leaned in. And then you think about that tactical advantage that they had for a few years. And then what happened is their coaches, because of the way they coach, is kind of an abundant perspective. Like, I'll give you everything I got so you can go get a job and dominate. So what happens around the league is all those coaching trees flood the league. And so the tactical advantage goes away because everyone's doing the same thing. But it's still not everybody. I think there's probably 15 places that are awesome for quarterbacks. 5 are super awesome. And what you're seeing is, in the past, there were so few places great for quarterbacks that a guy would come in, he'd get mauled, a rookie, high draft choice in a bad team, and he looks like he sucks, he's terrible, and you end up, they can't get back on track. In today's game, there's more places where quarterbacks can find out how good they are, which is the gift, right? It's like, we'll let you see how good you really are. And you're seeing the Sam Darnolds and the Mac Jones and the Daniel Jones find homes where they can find out how good they are. And by definition, where they wasn't allowing that. That's just a fact.
Steve Young here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then there's, I guess, somebody like Russell Wilson who's now watching Jaxson Dart get the start, just 2 starts after throwing for 450 yards. But that was, sandwiched in between 2 losses where things looked brutal. Your fellow Hall of Famer, Tony Gonzalez, last night on Prime Video said Russ has played himself out of the Hall of Fame. Where do you stand on Russ as a quarterback right now and where he stands, Steve?
Russ is, I think he was there's different ways to look at Russ, and some of it's how everyone feels about him, and then watching him play football. And is he genuine? Is he disingenuous? Is he, all those kind of, and I'm a believer in Russ. I think he's been an amazing football player, and whether it's going to be Hall of Fame or not, I'll leave that to the voters. But from my perspective, how he plays the game is pretty efficient and pretty smart and pretty effective. Now, can he do it all? No. If you look at what Josh Allen does or Lamar Jackson or, there's like these guys are just fully loaded supermen. And so like, if you want to compare him, like he doesn't have that. He's never had that. But what he gets out of what he has, yeah, I got to tip my cap to it. And now as he kind of, runs around the league, you run into places where it's not that great. And now the coach needs to save his job, so he's going to, bench him, and so like it's okay. And then Russ, whatever. What Tony said, what baffled me was in Denver. It baffled me that for a full season, Russ sent up no flares, no smoke signals that, hey, look, I'm struggling, but I'm still fine. I'm still me. And I think that's maybe what he's referring to is like I could not figure out that whole season what happened to Russ Wilson, and why would it just devolve, and why couldn't he let me know just kind of between the two of us secretly as I watched him play? Hey, it's not all. I got this figured out, and I think that's maybe what Tony's referring to.
Steve Young here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think about Herbert? Has he entered the chat here? Elite quarterback already there in your minds? Like what he's doing right now, Steve?
He always was. He was a kept man. He was in a place that wasn't great for quarterbacks, and he was getting in, and because he's so earnest and he wants to be great, that he was doing the Andrew Luck thing, just throwing his body around, trying to get something accomplished. To be good enough. He knew I could be elite. I can be in the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen conversation, and I just need some help. And I think Jim Harbaugh's given him some help. I think it's positive, and I think he's unleashed a little bit because you can see that Justin is now recognizing that my talent needs to threaten the line of scrimmage every play. I don't do it very often, but I need to threaten it. And he won games already this year with his legs, and he can do that. And that's the game today. That's the missing piece that he can now unleash. He was threatening the line of scrimmage when he made one of the greatest throws you've ever seen last week. So I'm a huge believer in Justin Herbert. I've said this many times from an artist's perspective, from a throwing motion kind of appreciation. I think he has one of the most beautiful throwing motions in history. So I'm not only a believer, I'm an admirer. And I think that Justin, there's no place he can't go if he has the proper help. And that's true for all great quarterbacks. You need the proper help.
And Jared Goff with the win on Monday night, I don't know if you saw this stat, Steve Young. He and Dan Campbell just surpassed you and Mooch for the second best win percentage in prime time, trailing Peyton Manning and Jim Caldwell. And I'm wondering if you think the Lions.
Why are you saddling us with the coaches?
No.
Yeah, just tell what's the total. Why are you trying to bring me down, Jared?
Oh, beautiful. Steve, that made my day. It might even make game day morning on Sunday morning. I have a feeling we're going to mark the time code here. You're right. My bad. You alone. You stand alone in that regard. So that was my way of getting into whether you think Goff and the Lions and Dan Campbell have shown we got this thing with Johnny Morton, offensive coordinator here. 3 weeks in, we're good. We're just like the same team over the last 3 years. Prolific on offense, smart all around. We're still the Lions. You're kind of wondering right now on that
Yeah,
front,
no,
Steve.
I thought that was a statement game. I mean, early season, preseason, September,
Right.
on Monday night, and going on the road. I thought it was a statement from, because the good teams are good. The Ravens are still a very good team. I don't care what you say. And so to me, there were two really good teams that are ready to play football in September, and I thought that was expansive. I thought it was unique. I thought it was innovative. I thought it was bold. I thought it was strong. I mean, it was like all of it. So, yeah, right now it feels, without injury, like put them in the mix, right in the mix. And then please tell me that if you get up by 17 in the championship game that you kick a field goal, just please tell me you'll do that.
I don't know, man. You never
No,
know.
just play. No, no,
You
no.
never
I
know.
need to know. I refuse to watch unless you tell me that's going to be the case, because I cannot watch. I cannot watch self-destruction again. I can't. I can't because of hubris. I can't see it happen again. It's too painful.
Well, where do you stand on the Chiefs too? Since the Ravens play the Chiefs, Steve, it looks like I don't know. Either they're missing Rice and Xavier Worthy, or the Chiefs are still once again fumbling for the light switch on offense, and are still not yet putting it together with their all-world quarterback tight end combination. Steve, where do you
Yeah,
stand on that subject?
to me, it's all up front. Like if they're going to be at least average up front, if not above average, then all the rest of it is just them working it out. You watch it last year; they won a bunch of games when they could have lost. They could have been, I don't know, who knows what they could have been. As long as they just get in, they just need to get in the tournament, and tell me that Patrick can be protected reasonably, because that's kind of what matters. And then people getting healthy, of course, and all the rest of it, and getting the help he needs. But I don't know. For me, until proven otherwise, the Chiefs feel like they figure it out, even when it's not figure outable,
And
and when it shouldn't be, when it's like the odds against that are really high, and yet here we go. So look, they can't get 3-6. I mean, they just can't. That's just too hard. But get right. Win some games, some tight games here. Show them who you are, and get into the regular season, and be okay. But How would you grade their offensive line, and what would you say? Would you say it was average?
well, what I would say is they have the highest paid center, highest paid right guard. They're hoping they got it right with Josh Simmons at the left tackle spot, the 11th different guy to start there in the Mahomes era. And I think, they need to run it. That's what I think they need. They need to. I know Andy
Yeah, you
Reid.
can't just win. You
You
can't
know
be
what I mean?
Superman all the time. It's like what
Right.
Josh Allen was trying to do, and now all of a sudden they run the ball, and now Josh Allen looks like amazing. So we've seen that movie from them, Rich. And we saw that in 2021, kind of back 3-4 years ago, where it was like Superman every week, and it's like, no, you grind into Clark Kent shows up way too much, because you can't do it that often. And so I agree with you, but they're a little desperate right now. So let like the doing whatever it takes to get some games on some wins on your belt, fine. But in the end, they know very well. I've talked to Andy about it. Like, they know extremely well that they can't ask Patrick to just run around, be Superman, and get all the way. They just can't do it.
So in the few minutes I have left with you, I'd be remiss if I did not ask you, Steve Young, about the 49ers. 3-0, banged up everywhere. No Kittle, no Purdy, no Bosa now. No Ayuk walking through that door anytime soon, and yet they have yet to lose a football game. They take on the Jaguars this weekend. How real are the 49ers? Or you just don't know?
They are it's impossible to know right now. But are they showing signs of a transitioning team where young players, rookies, are going to contribute, and they're going to, by the end of the year, we're going to have fans wearing four new jerseys that they don't even, they're just learning about now, and somehow they just stay gritty in those tight ball games and get on a roll with the tight ball games and win, instead of last year losing most of them, win most of them, and then get into the tournament and figure out a way to get gritty again. Like, they're not the superpower. They're not the best roster in football like they were a couple of years ago. And now, especially with Nick's a gut punch. That's a groin shot that you're doubled over for a little while no matter what. And then in the biggest games of the year that are coming, who's that guy that's going to close games down? And if it's Bryce Hall, then okay, like that's what I mean. Like new people need to become Nick Bosa. They need to become Debo and all the rest of it. And Brandon needs to get healthy. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that's got to happen to get in the mix. But right now with the record, like if you can get into a playoff game and who knows what it'll look like in December. Like I said, this is preseason, and the NFL is so much faster in development than they've ever been. That you can actually say, "We'll throw a team together. We'll see you at Christmas. We'll let you know." And I think right now early returns are 3-0, awesome, because they all could have gone the other direction, and you're in a much worse spot. So right now I'm a believer, yet tentative because you can't just keep getting hurt.
And then last thing for you here, Steve, you know very well what it's like to replace a legend, to also use your legs when you need to and play with heart. Yeah, right. That's the setup for what goes through your mind when you watch Baker Mayfield play football these days, Steve.
I love Baker. I mean, the grittiness, and he throws the ball better than I thought. And it feels like he's one of those guys that found a space where he got somebody that the clouds opened up and the sun came out and really helped the quarterback. And where he was not, he's the perfect case for what I just gave you as a reason why he's thriving. And now what's happening is he's growing. Even when you get a lot of help, you still have to go through 1,000 filters and hurdles to be good or great. And a lot of it is, understanding that, who you are. What can I do? How can I accentuate the things that I'm really good at? And how can I diminish the things that I'm not that great at or get better at? And it feels like Baker's on a quest. And it feels like every time I see him, he's better than I saw him last time. And I love that. That's how you get there. And that's the beauty of being in a place where it's, for quarterbacks, a good spot. And now let's see how good you can get. And Baker's like, okay, I'm willing to ask the question and go into jump into the void and say, how good am I? And have the humility and the vulnerability to recognize that, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, but I'm going to get better. And I love the Baker Mayfield story, and I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
And they're taking on the Eagles in a big game. I guess one last one for you. I lied. We did a top 10 list earlier this week in advance of Micah going back to Dallas about revenge games. One of them that I put on was Montana taking on you guys in the 49ers in Kansas City.
That's got to be number one. I mean, it was just insane.
What was that like from your perspective and what Dallas might be dealing with this weekend?
It was nutty. It was like for a regular season game, it was like, I don't know, the Battle of the Bulge, man. It was crazy. It was like it was crazy. And then it was over. And, then the rest of the season. And that's what things about regular season revenge games or whatever else. It's like, it's kind of an insane moment in the regular season, but then you just go on.
Yeah, I mean, 5 weeks later, another revenge game that I put on the list was Dion back in Atlanta. And he was high stepping from the 30-yard line, pick six, and Jeff George,
I love that. That was awesome. Look at
that moment right there.
Look at those colors. He screwed up. I mean, that was the colors that Lee looked best in. I don't know what he was thinking.
I know.
Come on, man.
He did sort of go around the league, winning championships wherever he went.
He was all that though, bro. Do not sleep on Deion Sanders and his talent. It was different. I said some people are just different. He was freaking different. And it was amazing.
Well, I mean, in that season, you only lost 3 times, winning it all, having the monkey removed from your back in that year. But it did start, I guess, in week 2 with that game against Montana. And I'm just wondering what you think the Cowboys are going to be dealing with on Sunday night with Micah coming into the building, knowing what it's like to play a game like that in the regular season, Steve.
I love the idea of a revenge game, but you have to have the emotion for revenge. I'm not sure you think it's a revenge game. I think it's a revenge game. I'm not sure the Cowboys think it's a revenge game. I'm not sure that they even have the wherewithal to even have a revenge game. I'm just worried that the core fundamental ability to just have a locker room that's empowered, a coach that can fire people, and walk in and own the room, like stuff that's just hasn't happened for so long has just debilitated this team to a point where I don't know that they have the chutzpah to have a revenge game, you know?
Steve, you the man. Thanks for the time. Love chatting with you. Let's do this more often. Look for more of my calls and requests of your time, sir. Thank you.
Well, I'll take 16 balls anytime.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Young.
Yes, sir.